Chalk Talk. I'm Chris Love.
Hello, I'm Zeke.
I'm Katie Nastro. Chalk Talk is presented by U.S. Sailing, the national governing body for sailing. U.S. Sailing is proud to present a discounted college membership. 4 years of U.S. Sailing membership for a whole lot less than the regular adult version. Just log on to racing.ussailing.org/college. This week on Chalk Talk, Stud of the Week. A discussion of weight in college sailing. We see how you did on your Zim Sailing Photo Assignment. And Sailing World's Meredith Powelson delivers this week's new rankings.
This week we've got 3 finalists for the Stud of the Week. Leading us off is Yale University head coach Zach Leonard, whose incredibly impressive recruiting skills have landed him with one of the most talented teams I've seen, definitely in a while. This weekend, Yale qualified 2 laser sailors for nationals, going 1-2 at the NISA qualifier, both freshmen, mind you. And they also won the St. Mary's Interconference by 118 points, scoring less than half that of the second-place team. And not to mention, he's married to Alice, which is pretty studly. Chris Segerblom is one of Zach's key players. He went down to the St. Mary's Interconference and embarrassed pretty much everybody else in B Division, winning by a lot of points. This was a really particularly studly performance for him, given that with the crazy talent nipping at his heels, any performance could be his last in the starting role on the co-ed team. So really good to see him hanging on to his spot there. And perhaps the reason he doesn't take the title of Stud of the Week is due to that 420 that he nearly broke in half plowing into that piling off the rotation dock, which is just bad form, Chris. Good try, though. And you guys, thank you for voting. You guys decided that this week's Studette of the Week goes to Paula Grassberger. She was the A Division crew at Tufts who smoked a bunch of nerds at home on Mystic Lake sailing the Lark. Larks in wacky conditions like on Mystic Lake, they're all about the crew, and Paula shows us why. So congrats to Paula and congrats to Tufts for a great win at home at the Hood.
Zim Sailing along with North Sails have developed a new standard in performance. Programs across the country have switched to the new Fathead Zim Radiant and the more traditional Zim Platinum. With cloth up to 7.8 ounces and reinforced in all the right places, these sails were built to withstand the rigors of college, high school, and junior program abuse. Now is the time to order with your custom graphics. Visit zimsailing.com for more info.
Well, for this week's feature, we've invited some of ICSA's top coaches to weigh in on our topic, weight in college sailing.
I think for an FJ, which we mainly deal with on the West Coast, the body type is, the most successful body type I think is pretty specific, where you have a larger skipper and a smaller crew. So larger meaning it could be well over 150 pounds. It could be, your skipper could be 160. Most of ours are between 165 and 180, believe it or not, in that range. And then our crews for them can range between 100 to 115 or so combined.
There's kind of an old-fashioned way of just like, let's just get as light as possible. But nowadays, this is a real good improvement in that the level of crewing in college sailing has really developed over the last 5 to 10 years. And now, if you don't have somebody who's really excelling in the front of the boat, you're not going to be able to get off the line well, you're not going to be able to tack well, like you're just not going to be able to compete. So it's more of a balance now, combining, a competitive weight with really high-end skill.
In the 420, I think the skipper and crew weight can be much closer together. And I think it also really benefits having a heavier crew for a 420 rather than an FJ, because the 420 really likes to have its bow down. So having a heavier crew to be able to help the boat get the bow down and not have the boat pinch as much and not have to feather as much with a 420, being able to keep that jib full, I think is a big advantage to be able to do that.
Does weight within your boat really matter that much when it comes to boat speed in college sailing? And I would argue that the weight within your boat doesn't matter that much when it comes to boat speed. I think the things that are much more important are weight placement in the boat, sail controls, sail trim, and overall feel more than anything else.
I think we've seen in college sailing that the bigger skipper has, specifically the bigger laser skipper, has been really successful. I mean, if you look at the last few years, or last maybe even 10 years of College Sailor of the Year, you'll see like a bigger laser skipper that's even been to the Olympics before.
Laser sailors typically are much more physical with themselves in the boat.
I think we can look at that on the women's side as maybe a better example of that, where you see like an Anna Tunnicliffe or even a Annie Hager, who maybe Annie Hager is not as built out or as big as Anna was in college sailing, but she was physically fit and knew how to physically move the boat around because of good laser sailing experience.
And I think the Z420 that's coming out, part of the design of that and part of the impetus to actually bring that along and bringing a new boat to college sailing, part of that was having this goal of broadening the competitive weight range. It's still to be seen whether or not that'll actually be the case.
The sailor makes the difference. So you see like a Brian Lake for Hawaii, who sailed college sailing very successfully, won I think 3 out of 5 A divisions at nationals that he sailed, and he sailed at over 200 pounds. And I think that you look at someone like that has just learned how to sail the boat at his weight. Now, can everybody be successful with that? No, but that's the nature of sport.
People obsess over boat weight, and in fact, I've seen it almost be debilitating to some of the best sailors that I've been around since I've been involved with college sailing. I think that more than anything else, it's important to have good boat handling, good feel for the boat, good decision making, and a realization that every point counts. If you can get your sailors to focus on those things as opposed to weight within a boat, you're going to have a successful sailor and a successful team.
Weight issues are a very serious thing in college sports, and not just for college sailing, but for all of college sports and for college students in general. That age range seems to be hit the most with outside pressure of dealing with what you look like.
As a coach, dealing with weight can be a sensitive issue.
It's not just for women, it's for men as well. That we have to be very careful as college coaches to make sure we're really paying attention to how people perceive themselves physically.
I think every one of those situations has to be handled differently, and you have to be able to reach out to the person and handle it appropriately for them.
Now for the Zim Sailing Photo Assignment. Last week we showed you pictures of travel photos, shots from the road, and we did have one more late submission that we were unable to show last week, and this is a video entry from Old Dominion.
Old Dominion University sailing team here, coming back from the Nevins Trophy, 8-hour drive. We got our freshman here, Nathan. He's a notorious deep sleeper, and he could be a fire hazard to himself.
Yo, Nathan, get up. Yo, Nathan, we're here. Nathan! Fire! Nathan! The fire didn't even wake him up. You're still How do you sleep in those? We're here. Get up! We're hot.
Well, I got to say, that would have won if it had been on time. Make sure you guys get your entries in by Tuesday every week to make sure that they're on the show for Thursdays. So let's take a look at last week's assignment. These are your rest stop antics. Looking for more submissions this coming week. Your next assignment is Rock the Boat. We're looking for photos of you and your teammates in the boats, and this can be either at regatta or at practice. Most entertaining team in the boats. And of course, we've got the Instagram account set up. You can send your photos to us on Instagram at College Sailing Chalk Talk, or the old-fashioned way, chalktalk@chrisloveproductions.com.
Well, it looks like the first relevant college sailing rankings are out this week. I wonder who's on top. Let's head over to our Sailing World correspondent, Meredith Powelson, for the update. Powwow.
Hey, Meredith here at Sailing World. I'm psyched to be back for another season of Chalk Talk, and I've got the latest rankings for the fall season right here. But before I get into it, just a quick reminder, Sailing World's college rankings are determined every other week by an open coaches poll. Coaches vote for their top 20 co-ed and top 15 women's teams. I tally them up, publish them, and include a section that shows those teams that also receive votes from at least 2 coaches. So this time around, Yale takes the top of the co-ed rankings. All 18 coaches vote for Yale. BC only 6 points behind Stanford, and Georgetown really not that far off, so it's a pretty close top 4. Fordham makes the top 20 this week, and Pennsylvania comes into the also receiving vote section with 13 points. On the women's side of things, Yale again takes the majority of the top votes, but here it's a little less clear. Dartmouth and Boston College also get a couple of those first place votes. Harvard makes its way into the top 15 this week, and you'll see that there are actually 9 colleges listed in that also receiving vote section, which is a fair number, and it'll be interesting to follow what happens there over the next couple of weeks. So that's all from me, and I will see you for the third poll in 2 weeks. Thanks.
All right, guys, we've got a lot of different events going on around the country this weekend. Anywhere from the T.S. Stern Match Race in Charleston, the Intrepid in Navy, Carey Price Memorial in Michigan, the Jesuit Open at Fordham, ICSA Women's Single Hands, also at Charleston, New England Women's Single Hands at BC, go Eagles. But for our deepest event in the country right now, I think this weekend it's going to be the Denmark at Coast Guard. What do you think, guys? What are the predictions?
So that's it for this week's episode of Chalk Talk. Join us Monday morning for the Monday morning update, and again next Thursday.
See you guys later.
Well, okay, see you later. Bye-bye.